Hello, family. Welcome to Thriving Couples by the Dindies.
The place where we keep marriage real, fun, and fulfilling.
We're really glad to have you today. It's going to be an exciting episode.
As usual.
Great hanging out with you, baby.
Always.
Yeah, so we'll be talking about how to grow together in your marriage. How do you level up together as a unit without leaving anyone behind? Yeah, so leave no spouse behind.
That sounds good, actually.
Yeah, so let's get into it.
Let's do this.
Great. So today we're talking about leveling up together. In other words, how do you grow together as a unit without someone getting left behind? And specifically, we'll be talking about how to really grow from a career perspective, professional perspective, probably as business perspective.
Spiritual.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how do you succeed as individuals, but how does that look like a success for the family as a whole, for the two of you in the marital setup? And so I would start by just saying that there's a statement we really love. We like to say, the only way you win is when you win together. Could you talk about that?
Yeah, I think it's great. Personally, I believe that marriage should not be a place where you get stunted and you get diminished. You came in very vibrant, and as time goes on, you're just decaying. Literally, you're just rusting away. There's no new developments. You're not growing. You're not enjoying life. That is not what marriage is meant to be. As much as marriage, there's quite a bit of work to be put in. Marriage should be exciting, and it's only exciting if you're growing, if you're evolving and becoming a better person. If you're growing in your career, that's professionally, if you're growing in personal development, if you're growing in personal care, self-care, if you're growing spiritually. And this will not be, it should be proportional. If there's disproportionate growth between the couples, then actually that meets the definition of drifting apart, because you're not really involved in what's happening in your partner's life. It means that maybe one of you is really achieving a lot academically. Maybe one of you is really exploiting their potential, and the other one is lagging behind. And spiritually, love talking about being unequally yoked as not sharing in the same faith. But this can occur in various aspects. You're unequally yoked if one of you is not rising up in their education, or if one of you is not rising up professionally, or one of you is having self-neglect, the other one is taking care of themselves. They care about how they present themselves, but the other one is just, as you are, that kind of thing. And so that means that every time you're having your aspirations, every time you're doing something as a married person, you should be considering your spouse. Everyone still has to take their personal responsibility, but it's also, we believe that we are in each other's lives to hold each other accountable, that I can charge you to become a better person, or at least be able to cheer you up to be able to elevate. And the same should be happening to me. So you should not be unequally yoked. You should actually be growing together so you can be equally yoked in all aspects of life.
Absolutely. And I think just to give clarity, because sometimes people think that it's like a competition. That
it's not. It's cooperation.
Yes, when you're coming up, so I must also push to ensure I'm at par. Yeah, but we are looking at it from a perspective of, for each of you as individuals, there are certain things that are really dear to your hearts. So when you're talking about leveling up, we're really talking against, it's on the perspective of the potential that exists inside. So there are people for whom their potential or the things that really drive them and excite them, their reason for living is not on the academic side. Yeah. So I just wanted to give that clarity because sometimes I've seen spouses. In fact, there's a time we got an inbox where someone said, I feel like me and my husband, we are always competing. How do we
Very
come to complement?
unfortunate.
Yeah.
Very
So the idea is you're not thinking of just because you did this, the husband got a PhD and therefore the wife must get a PhD
No.
to now
That's
look
not what
like
we are
you're-
talking about.
No. Essentially, there are those things that we know. So, for example, just last week, I think it was last week, that we were having a discussion with you. And I was asking you about certain things that you should have been doing. And I was really pushing you. I remember
I don't like that.
yeah. And I was telling her, hey, this is something that you love. This is something that is in you. This is something you're passionate about. So what are you doing about it? What are you doing to elevate in this specific area that I know is resident within you? And I really pushed you. And I remember you saying, hey, you're being so intense. Let's go.
This is intense.
Yeah, let go. But I said we will have the lovey-dovey moments. But I said, I'm in your life to hold you accountable because that's something you had said to me sometime last year. I remember, I think it was actually on my birthday, and you said, I'm in your life to hold you accountable to the greatness that you have within. So when we're talking of leveling up, it's really from that perspective, not competing and saying, if you've done this, I must also do this, but saying, with the things that we feel inside, the giftings inside that God placed in there, the potential inside, the potential to impact the world. How is your partner measuring up against that? And how do you push each other so that you can both achieve that? That's
And
what
I
we're
think,
saying.
in a previous episode, we talked about being a student of your partner, being curious about them. I think if you're to level up together, then it means that you have to be curious about your spouse and know what are their deepest desires, what are their special talents, what are their giftings. And those are the areas in which you as a partner who is there to support them and help them get to their fullest potential. Those are the things that you should actually be studying keenly and see which is the area in which you can nudge them. And sometimes that might mean that sometimes you might have to be the one babysitting a bit so they can study something a little bit more so that they can, do that write-up they needed to do. But just looking for opportunities to be of great support and encouragement to your spouse by first understanding what their desires are, and sometimes knowing that your partner can have their blind spots, but you can see the potential in them. How is it that you can help them bring it forth? And I think you've been that for me, honey, and I love it. And thank you so much.
Yeah, once in a while, I know I have to push.
It doesn't feel great, but the fruits are great.
Yeah. So for those who do not know you well, I think a lot of people online imagine that Esther is an extroverted person, but the truth is
like that.
She's really she enjoys her quiet space, and if you were just to leave her to her devices, there's a lot that she's currently doing that she wouldn't do.
I may never be seen outside.
Yes. Yeah. So, for example, just even running the Dr. Fitness gig that she's been doing.
That was going out of my comfort zone.
Really.
Surprisingly.
But I could see the potential. I could see you love helping the ladies. I could see how excited you are when you would see a woman probably embracing the fit lifestyle. And you talk to me about desiring to do this now as a business. But she's the people who believe in everything being perfect.
Has to be perfect.
Yeah. So I could see, that perfection paralysis was affecting her. And I nudged her. I said, "Hey, I've put up the Facebook page already."
That was a moment of conflict. I was not happy. As much as Dr. Fitness as a brand was such a success, I was not happy when he put up the page because, we'd been talking about it, but I was procrastinating. I wanted all the I's dotted and the T's capped, But I am glad he did, and he's done that on a couple of times. I would encourage you to continue, but please be gentle. Yeah, but it's just to say that if you're really to star each other, it's not always comfortable, but then marriage is an intimate space whereby you should be able to star each other, be honest with each other, be candid, and tell someone, hey, I don't think you're exploiting yourself adequate enough. And it's about the cooperation. It's not a competition. In fact, if you want to kill your marriage, just introduce competition, because you're no longer doing something as a union, but each one of you is just thinking about yourself as opposed to thinking about we, choosing the marriage as we. In that case, every time you're making that choice, you always have to think, how is it going to impact our marriage? And this is just to highlight the fact that there are times you still have to lay back your ambitions a little bit and you stagger them. You can't all be going all out full force at the same time, because especially when you have kids, someone has to take care of them. Someone has to ensure that the home is still running. And that means that sometimes I will let kid go, do something, and sometimes he'll have to let me do that, because we care about the fulfillment, the actualization of each one of us as an individual that brings the best versions of us into the marriage and makes us fulfilled. And as a union, then we are enriched at the same time. So it's about complementing each other. It's about cooperating. It's about growing together.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think when you think about that growth, especially from the professional side, we talk to a lot of people, professionals. So as professionals ourselves, we understand some of the challenges when you're maybe rising the corporate ladder, or you're studious and you're trying to get some things done, and they're just realities of the home.
Yeah.
There are times, for example, I remember when you're doing your master's program, it was really busy for you, and we had little kids, and I remember we talked. I mean, you finished your master's before me, and I remember we would talk and say, how do we work towards helping you achieve that goal? There are times when I would disappear with the children because we are trying to give you time to get things done. And I remember for me also very well when I was doing my final exam, surgical exams, you driving away
all
with the
way
children
from Nairobi to the village in Kitale.
and to take them away, engage them for a while.
I was pregnant with the last one, and folks didn't know.
Yes, but those were little things that we would do because we really care about each other's dreams, ambitions, and when you're making progress, the win is a we win. Remember, we started by saying
together.
The only way you win is when you win together. And so anytime there is a challenge where you feel like this is his win or her win, then you're missing the whole point. You're one union, and the only way you can win is when you win together.
Yeah, and that means you always have to think about your spouse, because many times we keep saying that marriage really does not work where there's selfishness. There has to be a sense of service to one another, seeing how you can be of help to the other person, because when you're doing that and you're being thoughtful of them, then they feel that warmth towards you. Then you keep coming together in a sense that makes you more intimate. And there are sacrifices to be made for sure, but then the fruit is actually worthwhile.
It's worth it.
Yeah, and I think one of the most radical, and I was bashed quite a bit about this online, is when I made a decision to go on sabbatical, so we could travel and live abroad for 1 year when you're doing your extra fellowship in cardiothoracic surgery. And I look at what that as resulted to, and I'm just proud of myself that I was able to be there to cheer you on and to support you. And of course, I'm not saying that people should make crazy decisions. Sometimes decisions are made based on financial situations and all that. But when you're able to just see what is the best I can do at this point and be able to be of support to my partner. So there's just those decisions you make and you look back and have zero regrets.
Exactly.
I'm glad
I would say boldly that anytime there is a choice between we and I, always choose the we. So we like to say the marriage is a client. So what is the best thing that we can do for our marriage? So even when it comes to our ambitions and goals and all, we look at it from the perspective, what will it do to our marriage?
Yeah.
So the marriage comes first. Then you say, okay, so this is what you want to do, and how can we work around it so that the marriage still grows and benefits out of that experience?
Yeah, because sometimes there are things one can insist on doing, and maybe they're truly not in agreement, that just rips the marriage apart. Like you have this ambition that is very untamed, and you end up just going further and further away from your spouse, and eventually you end up without marriage. So there are some things that might work best in singlehood if that's what you want to do, but marriage will always call for a higher commitment into the we that the union is.
Yeah. So to put it practical, some of the ways in which we've done it. So a lot of our community knows every year we have this engagement at the end of the year where it's like a business meeting. We sit down, we go away, just the two of us, and we look at the year that has been, and we say, so whatever we had decided to do, what were we able to do? Where did we fail? Then we look ahead and say, so what are the plans for the year? And we usually look at it from an individual perspective. So I would say, for example, Esigal, so what is it that you want to achieve this year at a personal level, at a professional level, for the business that you're running? What is it that you want to achieve? Then we look at what would that mean from us as a family at a financial level. What are the commitments we must make as a union to help you achieve those goals that you have? And then we look at me in the same breath and you say, okay, so what is it that I want to do this year? What do I want to achieve? And we agree. We pray about it, and then we have a plan. So that
and throughout the year, there's going to be a lot of accountability. Hey, are you hitting your milestones? You're meant to have done this by this point. So it's like we coach each other, not just coaching the married, but coaching each other to ensure that, hey, you have to do what you promised to do. It's not easy, but you have something.
And that was the drama that we were having the other week, because now whatever we had agreed at the end of the year that, this coming year, this is what she'll be working on. This is what she wants to achieve. And I could sense that she was being tentative about it. And so
going to the easier mode, comfort zone is.
Yes. And I was telling her, hey, this is what you committed to do. I'm not seeing that. What's going on? So that is a level of accountability. But I feel it's my role to ensure that you achieve the best you could ever be.
And so it's my role to ensure that we get to see the brilliance that's in you. You serve the world with the greatness that God has put in you. I find it easier to do it for you. I don't like it when you do it on me.
No, it has to be both ways. But I was just talking about, like the way in which you keep it practical is by having those engagements where you look ahead and then so that it's not arbitrary. Someone does not just come and say, oh, I now want to do this master's in procurement. You say,
and you've not talked about it before.
Yeah, when did this idea come? When did it become an emergency? As a couple, you have to always think about the we. So the advantage of having those meetings that as you look ahead, your spouse knows. It's nothing surprising. They know this is what you want to do. These are the plans. This is how the future is looking like. And then you now look at it from the context of the relationship.
What does it mean for the family? Yes. What sacrifices have to be made? What adjustments? What are the financial implications? Where is it you can push back and all that? So it's an ongoing negotiation, and that serves you best. And sometimes you have to be real that, in the course of time, you might have some plans, some agreements, and things happen that you have to adjust. So even in the course of the year, you can have those, go out for a cup of tea or have a date even in the house and just discuss some of these things, and you can adjust. Sometimes you can shift the targets as need be.
The two of you. Lastly, I think I remember there was one friend of ours just before she got married in college, and her family were really against the idea of her getting married, and they were all saying, "Hey, if you get married, you will not progress at a professional level.
You'll not do your masters.
You essentially all your dreams and ambitions will be sacrificed at the expediency of the gentleman that you're getting married to." So I think sometimes there are some perspectives, some mindsets that unfortunately have actually kept people, especially for the ladies, from having amazing relationships, because they get into it or they avoid getting into it, believing the lie that if you get into this relationship, then you will not grow. And it will be an impediment to your growth as a woman, as a professional lady.
Which is not really the case. And I'm so glad to say that, because I know the friend we are talking about, she's done very well. She's done her master's. She's done much further studies beyond her master's. She's doing well as a mom, and they are thriving in their marriage. And that's just to say, especially for the single people, it's good to be careful who you choose, because if you have the right partner, they're going to support you through some of these things. It doesn't mean that your dreams are going to die away, but they're going to be actualized. It might not happen as fast as it would, in different circumstances, but really it's worthwhile, because then you're having both sides of the scenario, because you have your marriage and you're still growing in your career and many other areas, and therefore you're more fulfilled.
Exactly.
And at the end of the day, as human beings, we are seeking to be fulfilled.
That's what we want.
Oh,
so looking at success from the perspective of true fulfillment and deep happiness. I remember there's an article you wrote, I really loved it, that
Thank you.
the corner office should not be the goal of life. It's not just about rising the corporate ladder, but as a person, are you deeply fulfilled? Are you happy about where you are? Do you feel you're having the impact in the world that you'd want to have? And that process of growth, that is actually the goal. Who we change, how we evolve as we are getting to become the people that achieve those goals. That is what life is about. It's not just about hitting certain milestones.
Yeah. Life is holistic. It should be fulfilling.
Yeah. So today is just an encouragement to you guys. Grow together as a couple. Get to know what is the definition of success for each of you. And then grow together as a couple, and you can do it. You don't need, as we said, leave no spouse behind. See you on the next one.
See you.